It's always darkest before the dawn or something.
You
This is Locked On
Dylan
Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and we're available on all platforms. My name's Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network and the Nuggets insider for 104.3 The Fan Denver. He's Adam Mares. He's director of content for DMVR at thedmvr.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Adam_Mares. On today's show, we'll just talk about the game. We'll just talk about the Nuggets 126-97 loss to the Phoenix Suns. No, we're not going to do that. All right. There's a lot of bad.
We got to talk about the game.
But we'll talk about it. I mean, I don't know what there is to say, but we'll talk about it. There's a lot of bad. I need everyone, Nuggets Nation, to take a deep breath. I understand Nug life. I get it. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Basketball is going to be okay. It's going to be all right. We're going to get through this. It's going to be all right. There's going to be highlights. There's going to be good moments. There'll be bad. That's how it goes. Mike Singer of the Denver Post reports that Michael Porter Jr. is dealing with a nerve issue that could end his season. Surgery is a possibility.
Should we go through the main points here? I just, it says in the report, not sure when he'll be expected back, dealing with a nerve issue in his back that could, this is a quote, could jeopardize his season.
Yeah.
And at the end, it says another back surgery is possible, sources said. So a lot there in just two sentences.
Yeah. So included in the report was a discussion that basically in a week's time,
right
after some more evaluation, they're going to make a determination.
Yep.
So nerve problems are bad. That's like a thing that's not hard to figure out. I think.
Can I actually start this way before we get into this? Because I've had a handful of people. Look, Nuggets. I think Nuggets fans are feeling low. The Nuggets are on a 4-game losing streak. Jokic is out. Murray is out. Porter is out. Barton is banged up. Monte Morris is banged. Like it's just this isn't a low point, not just sort of on the season, but it's kind of a low point of the last couple of years. Denver's facing more uncertainty, I would say, right now than before. But I had a lot of people reach out saying, I can't believe Porter would do this. Sign a contract knowing he was hurt.
No.
This or that. Like, here's the thing. Nobody seems to know a whole lot about what's going on. But I think jumping to conclusions about, a team, took on this risk or did this or that, like, just pump the brakes. Like, let's just find out what's going on here first. And more than anything, Michael Porter really loves basketball. I mean, that thing, you can say a lot of different things about this or that. He really likes the game, and it has been taken from him already for 2 seasons out of the last 5 years of his life. So I don't think that this is a matter of, and I don't think anybody should ever speculate on, let's think of the financial aspect of this for the Cronkies or for the Nuggets or this or that. Like, he wants to play. He earned a contract, and unfortunately, it seems a pretty bad case scenario is staring the team in the face. But I don't think this is a situation of a guy stealing money or hiding an injury or anything like that. I think people need to take a breather before coming up with those takes.
Oh boy. Okay, so I agree with you. Obviously, I think for starters, we don't know when the injury happened. People are speculating like it happened in the Sun series. Like, we don't know that. We don't know that. We know that he was playing and then he wasn't playing. It's definitely would fit that the reason he looked terrible to start the season when he was dealing with his issues. Okay. I'll say this.
Yes and no. The one thing I will say is never once in the first 6 games in preseason did I think, man, he's like grabbing his back or waddling or something like this. Like, the injury kind of came out and it was like, that makes sense. But I don't know. Well, this is what I'm saying is we'll find out if this was something he was hurt over the summer. Or I don't know. I don't know if anybody knows any of this at this moment.
The Nuggets had full access to all of his medical stuff. They knew the deal. They knew the risk when they drafted him. They knew the risks when they re-signed him to the extension. Michael Porter Jr. didn't do anything wrong signing that contract. Like that's what you do. Like you get your money. Like you're valued as a prospect. And if his career does not work out because of this, it will not be a completely shocking who could have seen it coming because he was medically red flagged. The Nuggets knew that. They knew it up front. It'll be extremely unfortunate. We're also a long ways from there.
Right.
Like,
yep, for sure.
We're not there. If we get there, then we'll talk about it, right? And we'll talk about the implications. And will that be devastating? For sure. But I do think, look, there's a lot that I haven't necessarily tried to be critical of it because I try and pass off a lot of it as just like he's young, right? But he's had attitude stuff. He's had play style stuff. There's all this stuff with him that I've like made mention of because I try and describe things accurately. Kid's in pain, right? The guy's in pain. The young man's in pain. He's hurting, and that sucks. And there's if as long as this continues, there's more pain and more discomfort, and he's kept away, and he's going to deal with a lot of like the comments that you're getting and all these types of things, and it's horrible. And so like empathy is a gift that we have, and we should take full advantage of that gift and extend empathy in these situations. We'll talk about the basketball side. That's what this podcast is, right? But every time a player gets hurt, my first thing I try and remember is this is a human who's experiencing pain.
Right.
So
right.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Again, I will say this. There's definitely reason why the people that spoke to Mike would indicate these things as kind of it being a soft landing for the news, right? Like Mike puts out this report. It'll be talked about tomorrow in every circle of NBA discussion. And it can prepare for an outcome where surgery is necessary. However, the Nuggets did not put out a release that was like Michael Porter Jr. is undergoing back surgery or has.
Right. Yep. There's still some speculation here. And maybe you're right. I wonder the exact same thing. I mean, here's the order of events that's important. Nuggets get blown out. They're absolutely destroyed tonight in Phoenix. Not very surprising. Phoenix is on a 12-game win streak, might be the best team in basketball at this very moment. And the Nuggets were shorthanded 3 players. Actually more than 3, but 3 most important players. So they get blown out. And then after the game, Michael Malone in his post-game commentary says, obviously, Michael is not with the team right now. He's in Florida, which was like a hilarious way to phrase something that was so not obvious. And I don't think anybody knew. And then the report from Mike Singer drops maybe 10 or 15 minutes later. It was a very quick order. Maybe it was 30 minutes later. I don't know. I'm doing the DNVR post-game show at that point. But so I don't know if you're right, if this is a soft landing, or if it's Malone sort of tripped up and shared a report he wasn't supposed to. Mike Singer does some digging and uncovers this. I don't know what the order is of this, but so there is so much mystery around it, but that was the order of operations, at least from my perspective.
Are they done if he's done?
Are you talking about the Nuggets as a team? No, I mean, look, the Nuggets, when Michael Porter went down, went 5-1 with Jokic. They won 5 games. Now those were home games, you know, this or that. I don't think they're done. Their ceiling is certainly lower. This season was always going to be about Murray coming back and figuring this out and that out. And I still think that there is a scenario where that happens. I mean, if Nikola Jokic is healthy and playing with anywhere from decent to okay guys, the team is still a playoff team and they're still very good and can give anyone hell in the first round. And if Murray is healthy, you're still, we'll see what happens, the deeper you go into a playoffs run. Michael Porter obviously represented their ceiling. Jokic represented their floor. Murray and Porter represent their ceiling. And yeah, that's a pretty big blow to your ceiling. So they might be done in that sense, or at least significantly less likely to be a true contender. But I don't think that their season goes away and they're like a lottery team.
Okay, I'll go further. They can still win the title. I'll say it.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So look, I mean, here's part of my thing is just I have never seen him shape a playoff series. Right?
That's fair. That's actually fair.
So what we're missing is the theoretical construct of something. So if you want to say, yeah, but in order for them to win a title, he needs to do X. You're saying that he needs to do X that we've not seen him do.
Well, we've also never seen the Nuggets win a title, just to be clear. So
That's
maybe
fair.
the Nuggets ceiling without Porter is what we've seen. I don't know, but
Sure.
But your point is valid that you're right. In a playoff series, he's been, I don't want to say just another guy, but kind of. He has been like a role-playing starter.
Yeah. He hasn't shaped the game, and that's okay. Like he's young, right?
He's young.
Like,
yep.
He's the whole thing was last year was supposed to be like this learning experience of what it takes in the playoffs, and then he builds on that this season, and it just hasn't gone that way for whether it's been the
maybe
back
it was injury. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, but for whatever reason, just hasn't gone that way. For me, it just comes down to I still believe that Jokic, Murray, Gordon, Barton, with whatever they will do, like because I'll tell you this: if he is out, the Nuggets will probably try and make some sort of move to figure for that hole. Whether depends on what they'll do what they can. Right.
Here's one way to phrase it. It's kind of funny as you're talking. We have seen a playoff run with Murray and Jokic. We've seen a playoff run with Gordon and Jokic, but we have never seen a playoff run with Murray, Barton, Gordon, and Jokic. Yeah. Like we've actually only ever seen 2 of the 4 at any given time. So the fact that, and you're right, and they have made it out of the first round every year to the Western Conference Finals one year. So you're right. The fact that Denver's ceiling might actually be higher than what we see even without Michael Porter, that's fair. I still don't know if I can say I have confidence in them becoming a contender without him, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see. We're a ways from that.
I have an inverted analogy for this. Okay. So instead of uber talented young player, I have super reliable veteran. The 2011 Dallas Mavericks, one of the biggest reasons that I zoned in on them as a potential title threat was because of Caron Butler. Caron went down with a season-ending injury. The Mavericks won the title. And to me, that's like it's not a bad comparison in terms of what Caron did in terms of raising their ceiling and everything he gave them. But ultimately, they had enough because they had Dirk Nowitzki, who was the best player in the league that year. So
there is something, too, where the best version of any Nuggets team is one that is wholly and completely not reliant on Jokic, but like where everybody kind of knows where Jokic is. And sometimes like you start losing guys, like Aaron Gordon knows he relies on Jokic, Barton does, Murray does. So maybe there is something to it. I don't know. We're a long ways from there. I guess we could probably take our break. On the other side, I do think there's something to talk about just where the Nuggets are right now. Like, like this was the first of basically 10 road games in a row. And the group of guys they throw out there right now, it's hard to like even focus because you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's our team right now. Okay.
It's a mess. We'll get to that. Let's do that on the other side. First, I want to talk about PrizePicks. They've got the best NBA DFS prop game on the market. They offer more NBA props than any other DFS prop operator, and they offer all the superstars as well as the bench guys who, hey, the bench guys are now the starters for the Nuggets. So that's how that goes. PrizePicks offers any prop you can think of, from yardage to touchdowns, even interceptions thrown. And users that deposit using promo code NBA, that's promo code NBA, will receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Just pick 2 to 5 players and over under their projections, and you can win up to 10 times on an entry, and it's just you versus the projected numbers. PrizePicks allows mixed sport entries, so you can do the over on Jeff Green rebounds and Teddy Bridgewater completions. Boy, it's a dark time in Denver sports. Use the award-winning app on both the App Store and Google Play. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. PrizePicks is safe and offers fast withdrawals. Don't hesitate. Check out prizepicks.com using promo code NBA or go to your app store and download the app today. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. Also want to tell you about DirecTV Stream. So if you want to catch the Nuggets when they get back to full strength, and they will get back to something resembling full strength, you're going to want to get DirecTV Stream. It's one device that allows you to get all of your TV options together in one place, so you're not having to track down different remotes and all these other things. You get to have everything that you want in one place. You get your TV together. DirecTV Stream brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. No more juggling remotes. No need to buy another device ever again. Best part, no annual contract. That's such a big deal. Get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. We will be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets, thanks for making us part of your day and making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and we're available on all platforms. Okay, so tonight the Nuggets get waxed by the Phoenix Suns. No Jokic, no Porter, no Murray. Bones Highland plays 2 minutes and 20 seconds and has to leave with the ankle injury, is in a boot after the game. Yeah. I mean, look, I've seen seasons from hell. And there's a lot of that going around Nuggets Nation right now. Like, this is the season from hell. I don't know. Like, right now it is. I maintain that. I'm just like, look, I mean, and I'll be honest, like, we've talked about this. We've talked about frustration with the training staff before, right? About not getting information. Like, here's what we know about Jokic is Malone said he wasn't too concerned. X-rays were negative. I expected it to swell. I wasn't surprised when he missed the Chicago game. I was a little surprised when he missed this one. Little surprised when he missed this one. It's painful. You gotta watch. You've got to be careful with him, right? He's the franchise. I get it. I guess here's the thing: is like we didn't hear anything about Porter. All the whispers were like, "Oh, it's gonna be all right." And now we're looking at maybe not being all right. Do we need to do this? Do we need to do the same thing with Joker? Do you think?
I don't think so. I mean, look, Porter's injury, even just like the idea of his injury, is always more concerning than a wrist injury. Porter's back. He's had 2 surgeries, so anything there was always going to be concerning. Yoke went out and did a workout today before the game. When we know that, we know he was a game time decision, and it went the other direction. If I were to pick, if like I were the pragmatic person that said, "Hey, how hard should you push it tonight?" I would have said, not at all. Like, you need to be 100% to play in this specific game because Denver was going to be heavy underdogs no matter what. And even if Jokic played, I'm not sure this game would have gone the direction Denver wanted. So to me, I'm really not at all concerned about Jokic's injury. I actually look at the schedule and say, oh, they play Tuesday and then not again till Friday. I would take that same philosophy into Tuesday's game and say, hey, if you're 80%, don't play. 90%, don't play. You got to feel pretty good because Jokic with a wrist that holds him and they hold him out an extra 2 or 3 games, that's bad, but it's not that bad. Jokic plays through a wrist injury and ends up hurting it to where he's out a month. Then we are talking about a season that goes to the brink. So to me, Denver's in a tight spot right now. Play it safe and get to a moment where you feel confident he can go out there and be effective and safe.
Because fans are wired this way, I'll ask you this question. Is it a failure of either the front office or the coaching staff that the team is unable to compete given their injuries with the Phoenix Suns?
No. I mean, nobody's competing with the Phoenix Suns. They've been mowing over teams over the last 12 games. I mean, they're a very good team. And by the way, I thought Denver actually did a really nice job tonight. If we talk about this game, look, the first quarter was horrible. And Denver made an adjustment. And part of it was horrible because Phoenix was absolutely on fire. When we were 9 of 11 or something from the 3-point line, they were on fire. They were getting what they wanted. Denver looked out of sorts. But guess what? They have DeAndre Ayton, a true 7-footer, rolling to the rim against Jermichael Green, who did a valiant effort, kept getting switched out. And you have Monte Morris rotating on the backside. You got Will Barton. Denver was just, they were up against a wall from personnel. What I thought was great, though, was in that second quarter, Denver actually made an interesting adjustment, putting Aaron Gordon on Chris Paul, and sort of it really caused them to go away from what they were doing so well. They scored 48 points in the first quarter. They scored 41 points combined in quarters 2 and 3. And I thought a lot of that had to do with the adjustment the Nuggets were able to make. And Phoenix actually ended up using Devin Booker as the initiator in their offense. Denver couldn't keep up pace with them. Like, they just couldn't score in this game, and you needed to stop and score to come back from 20 down. But I thought if you look at this one, you go, hey, they did compete to the best of what I think should have been expected of them. There's no way they should have won this game.
Yeah, I think they learned something. Definitely. I think that's a really smart note on the adjustment that they made with Gordon on Chris Paul, in part because this is kind of what the Bucks did also in the finals. Was Paul was dominant in those first 2 wins that the Suns got, and the Bucks' big adjustment was basically like, let's make Devin Booker do everything.
Right.
Let's make him be the guy. and that worked a lot better once they had applied enough pressure to get Paul to chill out because he's 36. Like that was a big adjustment. I think that helped. JaMychal Green hit 2 threes tonight. I thought that was like, hey, like if you're looking for a sign of life, like you want them to shoot better. Like that's a thing.
Even rebounded, which is big. I mean, Jeff Green knocked down some shots. Austin Rivers now has, I think, over his last 5 games is shooting a pretty good mark. So he's got his legs under him. So there's a little, and then Aaron Gordon. I mean, if you try to put the optimistic spin on, which I think you should. I mean, anytime you're only 17 games into a season, you should still, look at all scenarios here. Aaron Gordon has looked really good as a attacker in Jokic's absence. And I think there is something that Denver can gain from that and say, like, okay, maybe he can just don't ever settle. We don't want you posted up. We don't want you taking the threes. You get the ball, like attack, just run downhill and attack the basket. And there's probably something Denver can spin off of that. So there were little positives, but what was it going to take? The Philadelphia 76ers have been, shorthanded for the last 7 games, and they are 1-6. That one win coming against Denver. I think Denver's shorthanded is like that. They got 1 win against Indiana. I don't know if they would get another win if they play 5 more games like that with the lineup they put out. I just don't know. Right. So they play the best.
A lot of this is like if you like if Jokic was out but Murray was in,
right?
Then this game's entirely different, and you look at it differently, right?
Yeah, of course.
If Murray and Jokic are out but Porter's in, it's like, okay, look, like you got to be able to like do some of this, right? We could have some cars. I just don't know what to say. Like it's just like this is players are not like we should not reduce players to their financial liabilities on the roster, and that happens too much in basketball discussion because of the way that folks like to have fun with like team building exercises. However, the team is a product. Like you try and put something together, and it costs money to put together a championship product or the best product that you can. And the Nuggets are missing like $300 million.
Right. Yeah.
Of over the next 4 years. Like it's just an absurd amount of money that is missing on the court right now. And so there was criticism tonight of the rotations. Like,
oh wow, that's wild. Like it's funny because I actually joked about this on the DNVR Nuggets postgame where I said, 8 games ago or 6 games ago, we were complaining about rotations and who needs to play. And now it's like, there are no rotation. Yeah. I mean, you just play whoever's on the bench. It's like, who else do I have? Marcus, get in there, I guess. I don't know.
Well, that was the thing. The comment was, why is Malone going to only an 8-man rotation? This is crazy. And I was like, who do you want him to play?
It's Bull, Marcus, like, why is it Marcus? Only 3. They wanted Marcus?
It was Marcus. And of course, like, again, I'm just going to get back to this. Guys, give up on Bull. Like if you're listening to this show, I'm begging you. Like if you want to still be a fan of his, if he goes somewhere else, great. If he gets on the court, definitely cheer for him. Please stop bringing this up as if it's going to solve anything. Bull is not a solution to any problem the Nuggets have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Thankfully, I don't see too much of that. But. It is. When you talk about the guys play well tonight, this or that. One, the Nuggets we knew backup center was going to be a weakness, and if Yoke got hurt, what is Denver going to do? Well, you go up against Ayton tonight, and it's JaMychal Green, but then even behind him, you go like, well, who is the replacement once he goes out? It gets even worse. So tonight, like I said, I thought there were guys that did a decent job. They flew around, they made some adjustments. But you just always got to a point where you had to put some combination of players out there that is just like, man, I don't know where the points come from here. I mean, Facu hit a couple of prayer threes. Some guys just hit like some crazy shots tonight to even make it only a 25-point loss. Who else? Austin Rivers hit a pair of threes. JaMychal Green hit a pair of threes. So Denver even had some shots. But you watch some of those combos and you go, this is a good defense. They're not going to score against a good defense.
Let me ask you something, because you've talked. I listened to the DNVR postgame show that night. Like you've talked a lot about this road trip upcoming. You talk about on this show. You talk about on that show. Like you're really worried about this stretch.
I'm honestly less so now with the now it's just like just survive it. Just get out of it alive. The Porter piece of it was tough. Does he come back on the road? Now, of course, it looks like that's probably very unlikely. The Jokic absence, how long has he gone? Those things are concerning. I don't know. The road trip, you just worry about falling behind in the standings, and Denver's now 9-8. You look at all those games, there's a lot of really tough ones on there. Denver has to be smart in that they need to win a few of these, but they can't press for all of them because they're already dropping like flies. And I just can see a situation where Denver gets to be 12-14 and feeling like, oh no, we need to grab this one. And I just don't think they do. They need to survive this 10-game stretch and then hopefully be able to regroup for the back 2/3 of the season.
So about a month and a half into the season, last year, on February 16th, they went to Boston, and that was Boston.
That was the low point of last year,
right? That was a 4-game road trip against the Celtics, the Wizards, the Cavs, and the Hawks. They went 1-3 on that stretch. Had a good quality win versus the Cavs, where they just handled business 120-103, but they lost to the Wizards in the next game, and they lost to the Hawks, and they came home and they beat the Blazers, and they lost to the Wizards again. But after that was like where their season stabilized on Saturday, February 27th last year. They were out off a 5-game road trip where they went 5-0. I'll just tell you that I continue to believe that the MO of this team is that when the going gets tough, the Nuggets get going. Like, I just think that that's who they are. Now, they have to have Nikola. Right? Like, all bets are off if you like. I said this the other night on the post-game show. They win the Chicago game if Nikola plays. Hell, they win that game if Zeke Naji plays. But they definitely win that game if Jokic plays. They play with the requisite effort. They tend to buck up in moments where things are difficult.
Yeah,
it's been their identity, but they do need Jokic for that. Their floor is too low to compensate for.
I think some of this is that Philly game was so concerning, and those games do happen. Like, every year, there's like 1 or 2 games where you're just like, how did you lose this one? But I think in hindsight, we could probably look back at that one and say, oh, he hurt his wrist. Like, if Jokic is healthy in that second half, they probably even win that one as bad as they played. He just wills them over it. So, yeah, I mean, look, I'm not concerned for the season. It's such a long season, and you're right. Nikola gets healthy. I'm sorry. I think Nikola drags any team to a top 6 seed. I just think he's that good. But
he just want more. You're worried that's.
No, the one thing I'll say is I am worried about his own fatigue level. And last year, I do think he sprinted to the finish line the last 20 games, carrying the team, and eventually hit a wall. And I just look at this and I go, there's 60-something games left. There's a lot of games left.
Yeah.
And they kind of need MVP Nikola right now. And it's just a little early to be needing that every single night. But we'll see. I mean, the team will adjust. And if Porter is out, one thing we should say, it doesn't sound like it's definitive on Porter just yet. It doesn't sound great, but it doesn't.
No, it doesn't sound great. But, I mean, Mike reported it because it doesn't sound great, right? If it was just like, if it was the same of like, it's going to be okay, they're going to take a look at some things, then he wouldn't have reported it. But he got enough to report that, like, there's a concern about the nerve issue.
Right.
He's in Florida trying to get another opinion and more consultation. That's concerning. I'll just say that. Like, that's not good. We'll see if he tries to avoid surgery. If he can't, that's it. The biggest thing I think is that if you're looking for us for like, well, what does this mean? Like, what is the, how bad all we can really do is like react to what we know.
Yeah.
And right now all we know is like Mike's hurt. He's going to be hurt. He might be out for the season. He's not definitely out for the season. It's on the table. And we'll try and deal with the rest of it as it comes. But
who knows? Like, the other thing is, we've always talked about this as a week. What did Mom Malone say? It could be a week, could be a month. Maybe this, and now it's like, oh, maybe he needs a surgery, this or that. There is even a scenario where this is like he jumps on a Jamal Murray timeline, and maybe he's back in January, February, March, something like that, and it makes the whole season even more weird.
Yeah.
The Nuggets are just in purgatory right now where we don't know what their team is building towards.
And that's one of the things I think I've really like picked up from the fan base. Like, and like everybody's like this. Everybody's just like they want to feel like there's like real stakes and momentum or decisions or like something has to happen. And it's just like, no, man, like you just got to get through these games. That's it. Like they're going to win. I feel confident they're going to win enough to make the playoffs. And then with whatever version they got, you make the best run you can. But that's where they're at. And so I don't know. I'm not in a like they need to be making wild like that. It's just too early for that. You know, part of this is also like the MPJ injury this news would still be huge and very stressful for Nuggets fans and awful for Michael. It feels better if Nicola's not hurt and Bones isn't hurt and like this is a compound, like they have a cluster of injuries that's making it feel like the whole thing can fall apart. And it's like, well, okay, they feel like they can fall apart because they're hurt and they're injured. And when they're less injured, this will not feel as dire and they'll feel like they have some more time to stabilize things. Let's take a break. Let's stabilize things. We'll take a break and we'll come back. And I have some more questions I have for you, including if you agree that I've figured out how to solve Aaron Gordon's short game. We'll do that when we come back on Locked On Nuggets. But first, oh yes, indeed. It's Built Bar time. Okay, so it's Thanksgiving and my in-laws are coming in this week. And they like to go for long walks. Active people, active lifestyle. And they like to have snacks along the way. My mother-in-law is phenomenal about always making sure that everybody has snacks no matter where we go, walking, driving, wherever. So going to make sure that there's Built Bar stocked up for the house because Built Bar is like a holiday dessert, but it's healthy. Okay. Pie's got upwards of 300 calories per slice. Built Bar, 130 calories. Only 4 grams of sugar and packed with protein. Low calorie, low carb, low fat, high protein. Built Bar covered in 100% real chocolate. Share some of your family gatherings and they'll make things less awkward. Maybe Aunt Betty hasn't tried a Built Bar yet. They got new surprises all month. Limited time flavors arriving at built.com regularly. Check the site often. There's nothing like a Built Bar Black Friday. Mark your calendar. Black Friday will be a huge event with all sorts of surprises. One of the new flavors, by the way, is vanilla cream. It's awesome. That's a very good one. This is a vanilla cream one. Go to built.com and use promo code LOCKED15 and you'll get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. We'll be right back on Locked On. Locked On Bets, your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling needs. Locked On Bets, hosted by your boy Q, with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. Check it out wherever you get podcasts. Adam Mares, look, we can talk about this, but I just want to say that like I've solved Aaron Gordon, and I have found the secret to Aaron Gordon's short game that has unlocked everything for him. I saw
this. What is it?
He just has to use the glass, man. That's it. So I'm serious. So, okay. In pregame warmups the other day before the Bulls game, I was watching him do warmups as I ate the media meal, which I'm very grateful for the Cronkies for providing to the media. And that's all I'm going to say on that subject. So I'm watching Aaron Gordon do warmups and he's trying to do like the short jumpers, like just doing the drill with Graham and just doing like the constant short jumpers. And every time that he tries to just hit it clean, he misses. But every time that he uses glass, it's automatic. And in that game, I swear to God, go back and look. On the majority of his shots that were short inside of like 10 feet, he used glass and they're automatic. Aaron Gordon needs to be a glass man.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's something to it. I would say he just needs to attack. He's really good as an attacker. Every time he takes the jumper, I mean, he's not a good jump shooter. And every time he does it, it feels at least like a settle. He's so good at driving and getting to the rim and elevating. And I just think there's a version of him that is this relentless rim attacker that like a guy like Mikal Bridges, for example, really good defender. But if you're getting attacked every single time, eventually you're just going to foul out because Gordon's too strong. He's too big. And I think he's kind of learned that lesson. I think that's part of one of the good things that's come out of this is his jumpers have all felt like heat checks where he got hot from attacking the basket. So I think his mind frame is in a really good spot right now. And I'm curious to see if it stays in a good spot when Yoke comes back.
What's your where are you at emotionally right now as a Nuggets fan?
I'm not as bad as you think. You seem to
No,
think.
I don't think you are. You are pretty good. Like you were more upbeat than I was expecting. There are some stressed folks in Nuggets Nation, and I'm just trying to I'm using you as a sounding board because I think you're a good.
Yeah.
The fans need to hear from you because I think you're a really good voice in these times.
What was always going to be tough about the season was that the end product wasn't clear like it has been in years past. In years past, you've been able to look at it and say, here's where they are, here's what they could be, and let's watch as they try to become that thing. Right now, we don't know when Murray's going to be back and what he looks like. We didn't know what Michael Porter was going to look like this season. We didn't know what Aaron Gordon was going to look like this season. There's just so many questions. And now, like, a lot of those have broken in a negative way so far. But it's still one of those things where I'm like, we just don't have any answers to the big questions yet. So I can't get too upset about or too concerned about it. Like I said, I still think Yoke's really good. I still think as long as he's around, the team is very fun to watch. So as soon as he gets back, maybe as soon as Tuesday, the team is compelling once again. But unfortunately, we're in this point right now where he's not healthy, and there's just not a whole lot to say about him.
The Nuggets are 9-8. They'll face the 9-8 Blazers on Tuesday. So, Portland's right there. Like, I will say this: like, there's not. And look, the Warriors are 15-2. The Suns are 13-3. The Suns have won 12 straight. The Jazz are 11-5, pretty good. I will say this: like, I genuinely don't know how good the Suns are. I genuinely don't, because their schedule has been so cake. It's just been they've been in fortunate spots consistently. Now, I'll say this, that was a major strike against them when I was doing preseason analysis. I was like, hey, they struggled versus the bad teams. They've killed them this year. Like, they've just dominated versus them. And that'll help you rack up a big win total, right? So if we project this out and we're just like, okay, look, the Warriors definitely, there's no reason to think that they're going to slide. There's no reason to think the Suns are going to slide. There's really no reason to think the Jazz are going to be worse. And if anything, I think the Jazz have kind of are probably better than that record indicates. But then the next team is the Clippers at 10-7, who are okay. The Mavericks, who are 9-7, who are okay. And then there's the Nuggets. The Lakers are in the 8th seed, 2 spots below the Nuggets at 9-9, and needed a comeback win versus the Detroit Pistons after LeBron tried to claw Isaiah Stewart's face off tonight. Again, the struggle for everyone is real this season. There are very few teams that aren't going through it. The Nuggets are going through more of it.
Honestly, and it is funny how you look at some of the teams on the top, and they really have had some kind of favorable, either it's health. Like Phoenix just hasn't had injuries for 2 years. I mean, knock on wood for them. They've just been having this really great run. The Warriors had this home heavy schedule. They're going on the road now. But I do think there's something too, if you could design the perfect schedule, I do think the first 10 games would be easy. So you ease in and get a confidence and get a rhythm going, because then it carries you when you get to the tough part. Denver is at a part now where they're down how many guys? 5 guys, and they've had the early tough part where everything's condensed and this or that, and it's they're kind of beat up right now. Yeah, they're just beat up and down. And
I mean, look, I think this is you like I said, you mentioned the road trip so much. This is part of the concern with the road trip, is that they'll just get mentally at breaking point, right? I haven't seen them necessarily frustrated with each other, is the good news. I haven't seen that. I didn't see it tonight on TV. I didn't see it in person in Chicago. They were connected. Without Jokic, they were connected in that game Friday. That was a great game. They gave a really good effort versus that Bulls team. So, you got anything else?
Not really. We'll just see how this breaks. I mean, tomorrow we might get more information. Like I said, this Michael Porter stuff is all kind of coming in fast right now, but we'll see if there's more updates. And I would tell Nuggets fans to kind of buckle up. The next 9 games, 10-game stretch, starting with this one, it could be tough. It could be, I think it's the toughest part of the entire season for Denver. But after that, I've said this a few times now, after this 10-game road trip, they have the easiest schedule in the NBA after that for the final 56 games. So it's a little perspective as you get ready for what will certainly be a bumpy road.
And we'll be there for you every step of the way, as we always are here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining me, Adam. Thanks for listening, everybody. Make sure to follow the show on Twitter at Locked On Nuggets. Make sure to subscribe. You can check us out on Spotify or Apple. Check us out on YouTube. Do us a favor. Go to YouTube on your phone. Just open it up and search for Locked On Nuggets and click subscribe and like. Just do it for us. It's a huge help to us. That's the best way that you can support the show. We really appreciate it. Hit us up on Twitter if you got questions. We'll try and get them answered. We'll try and answer them for you. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode as we continue this week, holiday week of Locked On Nuggets. Thanks.